Hello, welcome to this week's video, and today we're going to look at some of the photographs that didn't make it into my abandoned, forgotten and left behind collection. Now, there are many different reasons why a photograph to me meets the criteria or ticks the box of the photographs that I'm wanting to put together. I'm the kind of photographer, I think, that if you want to look at it from a musical point of view, I'm not so much a single, but more an album type of guy. So I want to build together a collection of images, and some of the images that I take just don't, for me, are going to make it into the final collection. So as you know, I just go out, take photographs, something that catches my eye within that subject matter. I just take the photograph and then I bring it home and edit it here in the studio. So what are the reasons why some of the photographs don't make it? Well, let's go in and have a look at a few of them. Well, first of all, I think sometimes you can look at a thing just from the wrong angle. Let me show you what I mean. Here's a photograph of a wheel in a river. Now, you can see the photograph, and yes, it's exactly what it says. It's the wheel, and it's in a river, but look at all the grass and things that are, in front of it. It's very, very messy and not quite clear. So again, change the angle of it and you get this. You can see more details of the bicycle, the wheel and the sprocket and the pedals and the frame. So that to me says, that's a better composition. That's a better looking photograph. Alternatively, you could also have this one, a much more brought back kind of image. So the choice would be between that one and that one. I chose that one, but again, this one is a close second, and I haven't deleted this one because I think this one works as well. Take, for example, this. Can you tell what this is? This is a glove lying at the side of the road. That looks just a garbled mess, but yet if you turn it around and look at it from this side, you can see that it is a glove. Now, I didn't pick this photograph because I think it's just too messy. There's just too much going on with it. In black and white, certainly, you can see that it's just a jumble of things, and you can't quite see, what it is. So for me, it was rejected, for that reason. So what's another reason? Well, I think actually it could be a wrong choice, of the subject or the object. What do I mean? Well, that's a packet of tissues. Yes, it's, abandoned, it's forgotten, it's been left behind, but I do think it falls into the category of rubbish or litter. So from that point of view, it wasn't going to make it. This is a vape. I didn't actually know what a vape looked like, or a refill or whatever that was. So I looked at it and thought, yeah, an interesting, in the fact that it's a single object. But again, it's just rubbish. It's just litter. Didn't want to use it. This here is a piece of, well, I think it's a piece of felt from, housing or something. And it was just lying in the middle of a pavement. A nice isolated subject, but again, I didn't use it because, well, it doesn't really say very much, does it? It just didn't grab me. Let's put it like that. I didn't like it, so therefore it didn't go into the collection. This here, I think it's a piece of a door or a piece of trim. Again, I just thought it was, I don't know, there's something about it that just doesn't seem to win me over. It doesn't grab me, and for that reason, I've rejected it. A lot of the times, photographs, you look at them, you live with them, and you look at it and go, no, that's not the one. So this one was rejected. And again, this nice shape, again isolated, but again, it just didn't speak to me. It didn't say very much. It's part of, I think, part of an all-weather pitch. I think that's just a piece of material from that. And again, I mean, it looks like a number 5 or it looks like an S, but again, it just didn't. I just didn't think it was the right sort of object or subject for the collection. And this one, again, you look at the photograph and it's just, I mean, piece of wood abandoned, piece of plastic sort of forgotten, left behind. I think I was trying to be clever there, but again, I just don't think it worked. I think there's something about it that doesn't seem to fit in with all the other photographs. So that's, you know, wrong subject, wrong object. So now we move on to something that again comes down to composition, and something that really is just too messy. Now, what do I mean by too messy? That is just a jumble of mess. You look and it's, you know, plastic parts, and it's just in long grass, and yes, you could look around, but again, the subject itself is quite, well, it's quite hidden, it's quite disguised, and it just, again, because it's too messy, it doesn't speak to me in the correct way, so it was rejected. Nice idea. I mean, it does sort of say abandoned, forgotten, left behind, but I don't know how I could have photographed it any differently. So rejected. This one is I think it's a piece of a disc brake or something. But again, it's very hard to make out because there's all the leaves, and again, in black and white, it's just this C shape, and it doesn't quite just jump out at you the way that I want. I'm quite a sort of photographer that likes to look for negative space, and again, just too messy, too hard to pick out what it is. This here I thought was actually quite good, and it photographed it twice, so there's this one and this one, but both times it looks to be like, what, a street light, but again, it's just too far in, and I couldn't quite get the angle I wanted on it, and there's all these, you know, hedges and, you know, bits of hedge and tree and branches, and again, you just can't quite make out what it is. Maybe it's good to have a photograph where you look at it and study it and find out what's in it, but this one, no, I rejected it again. And again, this is a piece of metal off something. I rejected it because shape-wise it's okay. Again, it's an isolated picture, but the problem is, if you look at it, it's very, very grey. You know, the tones are very, very similar, and you can't quite make out between that, you know, the object itself and the background. So again, just clashed too much, too messy, and not a quite you know, clean enough image for what I wanted. This one here is a large socket that I found in the grass. In black and white, again, it's quite messy. You know, take it from a different angle, okay, and you look at it, and again, you can't quite make out what it is. There's a lot of long grass. It's quite hidden down there, so you know, the socket, you can't see it. It probably would work better in color, but again, it's just too messy. The image itself is not defined enough, and for that reason, I rejected it. So as I've said, you know, looking at something in black and white, if it doesn't work in black and white, then you know, it's not really going to be the image. So some of the photographs, you know, would they be better in color? And if they are better in color, then I can't use them, because I am, as I say, using a particular style to portray or show off this abandoned, forgotten, and left behind, you know, collection. So is something better in color? Well, I'm going to show you here a series of photographs that I took over a few days, where I really liked the subject, but I just couldn't quite get it. And I'll show you why it probably would have worked in color, and therefore I had to reject it. So, out for a walk, and foresty scene, and in the middle of it was a sock, child's sock. It obviously doesn't belong there. So yes, I like that. That was going to be the one. But too far away in this, even further away, so again, the object didn't work. So I, you know, zoomed in a bit closer and tried to get it. But again, going back to sort of being too messy, too cluttered, you can't quite make out, well, you can make out that it's a sock, but again, it's just too messy. It's just, yeah, it just doesn't seem right, does it? You know, editing this way, it brings out sort of the light and the dark, but it just doesn't quite capture the sock in the way that I wanted. So I went back a couple of days later to try again. The sock had moved, but this time now, you know, I've got in closer, but now there's all these leaves and pieces of grass and things over it. So the image or the object was, you know, covered over. and I didn't want to, you know, ruin the scene by, you know, moving things around, because sometimes that seems a bit fake, and well, for me it's fake, and you can't, you know, I think sometimes you can tell. So that one didn't work, and again another angle, and that didn't work. So really the subject was going to be a bust. Disappointing. Again, if I go back to this one, it's close. I might just keep it in there in reserve, because I like it. I like the idea of it, but I just don't think I got the photograph quite right. But yet, if you look at it in color, well, suddenly it jumps out, because you've got the contrast of the greens and the browns and the black and the red. So it would work really well in color. You can see exactly what it is. Here's, you know, a different version of it. Again, closer and closer again. So it does work in color. But as I say, I'm editing these photographs in this sort of old grainy black and white style. And if it doesn't work in that, then it's just rejected as an image. So I hope that gives you a little insight into how I'm choosing the images for this abandoned, forgotten and left behind project. As I say, I go out every week and I'm taking photographs, and you know, the subjects are there. Sometimes I don't quite get the composition right, and I, you know, turn around and try and take another photograph, and sometimes the photograph just doesn't work, and I really don't know until I edit the photograph if it's going to be a keeper or not. And as you can see, even something that might have looked good in color, I will reject simply because in black and white it just doesn't do it. So as I say, that's an insight into what I'm thinking, and I hope it helps you understand my brain, and maybe it will be helpful to you as well as you go out and take your photographs too. So with that, I'm going to end the video there, and I hope you'll come back again next week. And until then, cheerio.